Hi, my name is Elsie Blanda. I'm married to Michael Blanda. I'm a mother of 3 beautiful children. I'm also a stepmom, and I love hiking and jogging and being in the outdoors. I'm originally from Mexico City. I grew up in Simi Valley. Growing up in Simi Valley as an immigrant was definitely difficult. Growing up, my stepfather, who I thought was my real father, my biological father, he started sexually abusing me. I did try to run away and I didn't have nowhere to go. I did try saying something about it to adults and he stayed in the house. Finally, at 17, I told my mom that we needed to do something or I was gonna leave, and she took me to the authorities. Unfortunately, the authorities couldn't really help me because there was no evidence. But God is really good because we were able to get him to confess. That evidence, it's what got him arrested. He ended up fleeing. I didn't get the worldly justice that I would have liked. That doesn't mean that there's no justice in God's eyes. I met my husband when I was 19. Shortly after getting married, he started studying the Bible because we were getting in very bad fights. I mean, you put one broken person and another broken person together, and what are you gonna get? A hot mess. He came home after studying the Bible and apologized for his actions. And I was like, maybe this Christianity thing is something. And I became a Christian at 21. That's when I was like, all right, I'm committed. I'm gonna figure out who am I in God's eyes. But it wasn't easy. I was confused because nothing was being changed. And my marriage just got worse. And I was filled with pain from the past and pain from the present. I wanted to be accepted. I felt like I needed to be the cookie cutter Christian, dress a certain way, speak a certain way. Then maybe what I'm feeling, the despair, the pain, the trauma will go away. So I would just say yes to everything, did whatever everyone wanted of me. I said yes to the PTA. I said yes to church events. I said yes to helping friends with their kids. I said yes to play dates. I said yes to everything. My schedule was so booked. Being booked meant I didn't feel anything. And if I didn't feel anything, then everything would be okay. But it wasn't. I remember having a breakdown in front of someone at school. I just started screaming at her. It was those outbursts that just came out of nowhere. I didn't understand where they were coming from. And then at home, I definitely didn't want to go back home to face the truth that I was in an abusive relationship with my husband. It was easier to stay away. My workplace was starting to notice that I was going through something. I had a coworker, she knew that I like hiking, so she was like, hey, let's hike together. And I was like, yeah, sure. She was like, so tell me what's going on. I kind of explained to her what was going on at home, and she recommended a program called Celebrate Recovery. I was like, okay, that's not for me. I'm like, I'm not an addict. Being a codependent, I said yes. I remember going back home and praying to God. I said, Lord, I'm gonna go and visit Celebrate Recovery at Rocky Peak Church. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me get out of it. That wasn't his plan. His plan was for me to get into it. The first time I stepped into Celebrate Recovery, I thought it was weird. Everyone was worshiping with such passion. I loved it, but I felt really weird. I signed up to do a step study. They ask you to think about what you want to work on. The obvious thing that I knew that I needed to work on was the fact that I was sexually abused when I was a child and how much hate and anger I had in my heart. The woman who prayed over me, she just knew and how much pain I was. Because for so long, I held on to my anger. During that prayer is when the Holy Spirit met me. And that's when I realized that I can forgive him. And I did. After hitting that amazing victory of forgiving my sexual abuser, I still had to deal with the fact that I was in an abusive relationship with my husband. I removed myself from the marriage. I also filed for divorce, and I had to find lots of mental health. I had to meet God in that moment and going to therapy, taking the medication that I needed, putting Celebrate Recovery as a priority. It's a very slow process though, a hard, slow process. After a year, I remember praying to God and asking him, why do I still feel love for my husband? Like, I don't understand, because I filed for divorce, but I don't feel led to complete it. I decided to talk to him again, and I realized that he was a changed man. He made an amends to me, admitting everything he did to me. He came to Jesus, he came to celebrate recovery. He finally left alcohol and drugs. It was definitely a miracle to get my husband back. In my experience, I felt like God was trying to meet me in many ways, but I didn't actually get to see who he really was until I went to celebrate recovery. He is the father that I've never had. When I'm stubborn, he still loves me. When I sin, he still loves me. I felt him right next to me at every step.